With this Q&A, what are the best races to trade as a pre-race trader? So thanks for the question there, Darren. I appreciate you taking the time out to ask one that's likely to benefit everyone. I think that this Q&A certainly will. So first of all, what do you mean by the best races to trade? You could mean a couple of different things there, although I would assume you mean the ones that are going to return the most profit for the least amount of time, or the ones that are more likely to put you in profit. Same sort of thing. So we touched on this previously in the work-life balance clip on YouTube. If you haven't seen that already, go and check it out. But the answer in short is to look for the bright spots. Those points which are easy pickings, the ones that you know about before you even open up your screen and your trading software and start clicking the mouse. You know that they're already going to be easier situations for you to trade. And there should be at least a handful of those each day. So there's a few points to mention around this, which we'll go on to now, and I'll elaborate as much as possible. So first of all, if you're looking for this kind of situation, it's just common sense to look for one whereby it's not a competitive situation within the market. So that's very different to it being a non-competitive situation within the race to some degree or another. But within the market is obviously our main focus because we're trading pre-race, and that's what's important to us. That's also where we can spot money flowing into the market to confirm or deny our beliefs. Now, I'm not just talking about the size of a market or the turnover of the market. That could manifest easy pickings in one sense, especially if there is a difference between a big increase in liquidity and not being a big increase in terms of people trading it. So that would exhibit easy pickings in one sense, depending on your approach. But I'm talking about those situations which are, they're very low risk, because basically it's kind of like 2 versus 1 within the market. If you've got 2 being backed heavily in a 3-horse race, it just makes sense to lay the third one, the one that's not being backed, because, uncompetitiveness, it doesn't really need explaining. the drifting price is going to get a right kick in from the 2 that are being backed and supported. So you need to kind of focus and look for those situations which are likely to express characteristics whereby it could easily deviate from being competitive within the market. So at the other end of the spectrum, you might want to talk about a handicap race where all horses are a competitive handicap where all horses are priced similarly. And so, bearing in mind that there's a lot of information on handicaps, and there would be within most handicap races, if they're all handicapped evenly, and it's a race that everybody knows lots about, then is it likely to be a situation that's uncompetitive? And, excluding a few of those which sort of deviate off the chart, then it certainly wouldn't be that competitive, and so it's not really going to be easy pickings. Unless, like I said, you think in terms of the market, there's massively increased volume for whatever reason, and there's not massively increased activity in terms of other traders and betting behaviour. So you want to kind of like pick on those vulnerable situations within the market which express easy situations in terms of non-competitiveness, and that's why back into late is often so popular, because if you get a good back to late section and it's in a race where there's no competition for the lead, quite clearly, then it should be easy enough pickings. That's something we talk about in the video pack, so I'll leave that there. But the next thing to think about would be, where else do you find these non-competitive situations which make it sort of one of the best races to trade pre-race? So obviously that's what we're talking about here is bias. We're looking for a situation where there's a significant bias in the market. The prime example of this would be meetings such as Cheltenham, which are quite favourable for traders, and that is because, as I said previously, there's a whole load of extra volume, a whole load of extra genuine betting money from the betting public, not necessarily well-informed money, that enters the market, and activity in and around those prices doesn't necessarily reflect the additional liquidity, and so that provides us with a bigger advantage or a bigger margin to possibly profit decreasing our risk at the same time. So it's a bit of a universal truth, if you like. In fact, you could take it outside of trading and look at things like in the sense of business. For example, Facebook shot straight to the top of stardom, got a bit of a monopoly on social media very early on, and that would be because there was no competition. It wasn't necessarily, well, it was a great idea, but it was a great idea and also there was no competition. So that's what you're looking for inside a betting market in terms of how the activity behaves. The last thing to be mentioning would be, how do you fit with the market behaviour? Because I think this one gets left out. In fact, it doesn't get left out in the sense of talking about it. I'm always banging on about it, and I know that others are too. But, you know, if you don't fit in with the situation in the sense of personal reactions and behaviour in the market at the moment, then you're going to come unstuck as well. So you need to be able to manage those trades effectively where there is slim pickings, because if you kind of, like, for example, if it's swing trading and you can't sit on your hands, that is a problem. And so it's not necessarily a problem with the market, it's not necessarily a problem with your edge, it's a problem with how you interact with the market. And so it's also very important to bear that in mind. Some situations benefit others more than others, and that's why it's always good to scan for a card before the beginning of the day. And like I said, in most cases, anybody who's got some kind of level of experience will know that one's for me, that one's not for me. And so it's important to do that and just focus on the good ones, because a lot of the time it's easier to extract more profit from something you're good at than trying to be brilliant at absolutely everything. And also, it's a great way to waste your time if you're just going to do everything and try and be, you know, some kind of god at every single situation. So the easy answer for the best races to trade would be to pick on the ones that you know that you can kind of kick crap out of them anyway, and just sort of ham it up for them ones and get as much as possible whilst limiting your losses elsewhere. So finally, before we go, I haven't done this previously, I just wanted to ask anybody that's made it to this point within the clip, how useful was this YouTube video for you? I'd like to know in the comments below. I will respond to a few of you, and hopefully, providing it was useful, we can continue making clips like this. If not, maybe we'll knock them on the head.